Good morning, fellow island riders. It's great to see you all again. Glad to have you on the ride out here with me this morning as I make my way to work. We are midweek, but I've got the rig all set up in the helmet. I've got the video fired up. I figured now is as good a time as any to talk about my first 10,000 kilometers on the KLR 650 on the Silver Fox. So overall, we hit, I think 10K probably about 2 weeks ago, but I did see it coming and I did mount the GoPro to the handlebar system there so we could end up seeing the rollover. Hopefully that came out good enough for us. But yeah, 10,000 kilometers, I mean, I could sit here and do a 10K review on the KLR 650 all day long, but I think we've all heard that done, and maybe it's time to take it from a different perspective. But if that's what you came here for, and that's what you're looking for, I will not let you down. I'll get to that right away and right now. The KLR 650 for 10,000 kilometers for me has been three things. It's been, number one, reliable. Number two, it's been just an ultimate exciting bike, a comfortable bike. It's been an accessible bike. And number three, it's been cost effective. And what do I mean by that? So the first one, just the reliability of this bike is that I've put it through a lot of really tough situations. I put it through mud. I put it on the highway for a long distance. I went tip to tip with this machine in 2 days on the island, which covers about, I think, 1,200 kilometers. Someone could probably do the math and correct me on that one, but it was a long haul. And, we've dragged it up hills. We've plowed it through the sand. It's just never missed a beat. As far as accessibility is concerned, I do 90% of the maintenance on this bike, and I've never done maintenance on a motorcycle before, but with a little bit of help from YouTube, with a little bit of help from the climber manual on this one, it's very easy. The bike is not, there's no kind of walls, technologically or mechanically speaking, that prevent you from going into this bike and fixing it or figuring out how it works in general. And cost effectiveness, I put this bike on the road for $8,000 and it was brand new when I bought it. And I can tell you right now, I don't spend a lot of money on upkeep. There are a few things that I've added to the bike just to make it a little bit better, a little bit safer, a little bit more protected. But all in all, you're going to have to pay a little bit more for that kind of stuff because at this point, the KLR is not made anymore, and that stuff is all custom engineering. Whenever you want to get custom engineering, it's going to cost you. So, what do I really want to say about these 10,000 kilometers that I put on this bike? Well, I want to talk about 10,000 kilometers as a new rider. So I've only been riding a motorcycle this is my second summer. This is my second season on the KLR and on a motorcycle in general. And I chose the KLR 650 primarily because I've always wanted one. I identified earlier on that it was the bike for me, and I've just been waiting for the right time to buy it and get onto the road. And over the last 10,000 kilometers, I've developed a really deep connection to this motorcycle. One thing about me is that I love operating and learning how to operate new machinery. I've learned how to drive, small cars, bigger cars, powerful cars, small trucks, big trucks, excavators, skid steers, tractors. I've learned to drive a lot, and I love that feeling. And that was one of the best feelings that I had when I first got in behind the handlebars on this bike, and just learning the new dynamics of how a motorcycle rides was amazing. But for me as a new rider, I felt it was incredibly easy to do that on the KLR 650 because of just the way it fits me. Now, this is a little bit personal, but again, I'm talking about the 10,000 kilometers that I experienced on this motorcycle so far. And I'm about 6'4", and the bike, I know people say it's quite tall for people, but it fits like a glove for me. and I love every little bit of that. I haven't done any kind of modifications to lower the size. The bike is pretty much stock for multiple reasons. One being budget, and two just being I like the way it feels. I like the way it rides. I like the way it sounds, and it was excellent. So for me, learning to ride a motorcycle, the KLR 650 contributed to a genuine desire to learn to get better on a motorcycle. And as that desire grew, and as I learned and got better on the bike, it pushed me a little bit further and further outside of that comfort zone and further into adventure. And it got me what I really wanted to get out of this motorbike. And that was to find a way to get into the backwoods, the back trails of Prince Edward Island, and expose some of the hidden beauties that we have around here, and some of the really great landscapes that you can find if you're willing to push yourself and go on a little bit of an exploration, go on a bit of an adventure. So yeah, also, you know, I've done a lot of trips on the bike. Basically last summer, I was on the bike every weekend. My first moto camping adventure was a tip-to-tip. We went to Dromore, those woods that me and Brandon went on there a while back, and the spot where you saw me camping during our moto camping series, the first one. And that was really, really fun. It was a good way to shake out my loadout, my kit for the bike, and it was a really good experience just getting from one end of the island to the other. It also let me feel out the bike as far as a long-term ride is concerned. I'm talking like incredibly long. I'm talking like, you know, 2 days worth of riding flat out. And, you know, I'm not going to Mongolia or anything with it, but I did notice where the chafing started. And I did notice where the pains and the cramps started to come from. So I bought a few things for the bike, you know, non-expensive things to help make that comfort go good. I've also found out that, you know, I really enjoy just working on the motorcycle as well and learning about how it operates. And that includes, you know, learning about the electrical system, learning about the powertrain system, learning about, you know, the tires and how they wear and what you can do to change the wear pattern of your tires as far as airing up and airing down. And I was able to dial this bike right into what I want, which is ultimately what the KLR is capable for you. You're able to customize it to the point that it fits you as an individual. And I just love that so much about the bike. Over the course of the last 10,000 kilometers, I also gave this bike a name, and we named it Silver Fox, and it's got a little silver fox on the back of it there, and that's actually neat because it lights up at night when the headlights shine on it. I got a lot of history with silver foxes from where I'm from, and even back with my family a little bit, not directly in relation to fox farming or anything like that, but just it kind of intersects a little bit. Also, I was thinking about a name for the bike. I was gonna call it you know, something else, and then I walked outside to go and work on the bike, and there was a fox sitting right next to the garage, kind of just staring at me, and it was the closest I've ever been to a fox in my life. I took it as a sign, and that's how it got its name. So in this second season on the bike, I feel that two things are really going on. One, the bike is maturing a lot, and I'm maturing along with it. And what I mean by that is that I'm starting to get a feel, get way more comfortable on the bike and riding it like I mentioned before, but you know, I'm experimenting with different riding styles and pushing the limits on those styles a little bit more too. So when I get out into the trails, I'm not just trying to go through the trail just to get to the other end of them so much. I'm trying to enjoy the whole riding experience as well, like, you know, experimenting with, you know, braking traction in the back a little bit, and you know, places that were really, really muddy that I would avoid, that I would have avoided before, I go right through it, or at least give it the best shot I can to see, of course with safety in mind always. So with being on pretty much the back end of season 2 on the Fox. I feel like this portion of the 10,000 kilometers is my most maturest. And that's, you know, pretty obvious. You know, as time goes by, you get better at anything, as long as you practice. But there's something to be said about that. If you always keep your bike in the garage and you look at it and you're always apprehensive about pushing your limits and about trying new things and getting outside of your comfort zone, you know, the bike isn't going to mature, and you aren't going to mature with it. There'll always be that little bit of a disconnect between you and it. And I feel like that's what this 10K has done for me. You know, I could talk all about the types of tires I've had on the bike and the wear and the maintenance I've done to it, but the most important thing for me that's happened in the last 10,000 kilometers on the KLR 650 is the connection that I've made to it, personally. You know, I truly believe that this bike has a bit of soul in it. And when I call it Fox, or when I call it Foxy, or the Silver Fox, I truly mean that it has its own identity. So I put it to you folks here that are watching the video, what was it like for your first 10,000 kilometers on your machine? Be it a side-by-side, an ATV, a KLR 650, a DR 650, whatever it is that you put memories into, what were those memories like? What are the ones that you really look back on in your first 10,000 kilometers, the first 2 years or so that you had on the machine, where you were just learning about it and connecting with it? Share it in the comments below. I'll always love hearing about that stuff. And in the meantime, and until we ride again, subscribe to join the ride if you haven't already done so, and like to keep the ride going. And we'll see you next time. Take care.